Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going on a seriously fascinating journey. We're going to be stripping away all those complex, noisy outer layers of our world to find the fundamental, beating core right underneath it all. I mean, we live in an age of absolute information overload, right? It feels like literally everything is incredibly complicated. But what if the absolute most powerful truths are actually the simplest? Okay, let's dive into this. What do a high-stakes Hollywood pitch and the biological origins of human consciousness possibly have in common? I know, it sounds completely absurd at first glance. But it turns out these two totally distinct subjects actually share a unified, absolutely crucial truth about how we process information and make decisions in a chaotic world. You see, we often fall for this illusion of complexity. We falsely assume that throwing a ton of details in a massive one-hour PowerPoint at an audience is going to make a pitch better. Or looking at neuroscience, we assume that our huge, complex outer brain is what makes us conscious. But reality shows us the exact opposite. True power, human decisions, and even our very consciousness, well, they actually stem from simple, primal structures right at our core. So here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the myth of complexity, move into the 3-minute pitch, and then crafting the perfect pitch. After that, we'll shift gears to look at the brain's hidden core, and finally, rewiring the primal mind. Let's get to it. All right, Section 1, the myth of complexity. Let's talk about why long pitches fail. You know the feeling. When we have a brilliant idea, a new business, or this amazing new product, our immediate temptation is to over-explain every single detail. We want to show off this intricate tapestry of our work, right? Just to prove its worth. But listen, long pitches absolutely fail. Modern audiences are savvy, they're impatient, and they are constantly bombarded with info. They have zero tolerance for fluff. If you bring a convoluted one-hour presentation, you're literally working against yourself. The hard truth is, your audience is deciding yes or no in the very first 3 minutes. That's it. After that, they're just filtering your remaining 57 minutes through that initial judgment. Which brings us to Section 2, the 3-minute pitch. Let's look at mastering this art. To fix this urge to over-explain, we can turn to a guy named Brant Pinvidic. He developed a completely foolproof solution after doing nearly 10,000 Hollywood pitches over 2 decades. His secret? Simplify your message to a tight 3-minute window. So the crucial point is that to succeed in those 3 minutes, you absolutely must answer 4 fundamental questions. And honestly, only these 4. Number 1, what is it? Number 2, how does it work? Number 3, are you sure? And number 4, can you do it? By strictly answering just these, you're helping your audience immediately conceptualize the idea without drowning them in a sea of unnecessary technicalities. Moving right along to Section 3, crafting the perfect pitch. It's time to strip away the weeds. Now, knowing those 4 questions is great, but how do we actually build this thing? Well, we have to be ruthless. We have to focus solely on our core narrative. And believe it or not, it boils down to this exact magic number, 25. A truly effective 3-minute pitch consists of exactly 25 highly selective sentences. You're going to devote about 9 sentences to explaining what it is, 7 to how it works, 6 to prove, are you sure? And just 1 single, highly impactful sentence to answer, can you do it? This strict constraint, it basically forces you to drop all the gimmicks and find your absolute core message. To make those 25 sentences stick, you really need an edge, basically a vivid, unforgettable anecdote. Let's take the pitch for the TV show Bar Rescue. Their pitch included a story about John Taffer and his concept of the, wait for it, butt funnel. Yeah, you heard me right. It's an intentionally narrow corridor designed into a bar that physically forces patrons to squeeze and rub past each other. And surprisingly, that little interaction boosts endorphins and spikes string sales. Throwing in this slightly humorous, hyper-specific detail was genius. It instantly proved Taffer's deep industry expertise and hooked the executives right from the get-go. Okay, another really essential tool for your 25 sentences is something called the all is lost moment. This essentially means you admit a major flaw or a big technical hurdle right up front. I know, it sounds incredibly counterintuitive, right? Why would you point out a problem? But it's essential. By revealing a flaw before your audience can spot it themselves, you completely disarm their skepticism. Actually, scratch that. It's brilliant because you're transforming a potential liability into a massive advantage. You prove you're credible and that you've already thought of a solution long before the critics can even weaponize it against you.
All right, let's move to and see how this builds in Section 4, the brain's hidden core, specifically the subcortex.
So we can actually take this exact concept of stripping away the fluff and apply it directly to the human brain. Take a look here. Notice that massive yellow outer layer? That is the cortex. But those smaller green structures tucked deep inside, that's the subcortex. Now, for a really long time, neuroscience suffered from this thing called corticocentric myopia. Basically, it was this false assumption that just because our cortex is so huge and complex, it must be the sole driver of our consciousness and our daily experience. It's exactly like falsely assuming a 1-hour pitch is automatically better than a punchy 3-minute one. But researchers like Mark Solms are revealing this startling medical reality. It turns out the true primal engine of our feelings and decisions lies deep within those simple subcortical structures. We're talking about the subcortex handling our breathing, our arousal, our emotions, and our most fundamental conscious feelings. And get this, astonishingly, children born entirely without a cortex still exhibit conscious feelings. No way, right? But it's true. They wake up, they smile, they react to their parents. The absolute core of our consciousness isn't floating around in that complex outer fluff. It is deeply rooted in our primal center. This leads us to our final part, Section 5, Rewiring the Primal Mind Through Neuroplasticity. If our deepest feelings and decisions, whether we're sitting in a tense boardroom or just navigating everyday life, are truly driven by this primal layer, how do we actually interact with it? I mean, think about the sheer scale of what we're dealing with here. And this brilliantly illustrates the point. Just like the vast, immense gravity of a black hole pulls everything toward its center, our intricate primal brain exerts this massive, unseen pull on all of our high-level, complex thoughts. But hey, the good news is we are not completely at the mercy of our primal instincts. We can actively interact with and retrain these fundamental areas of the brain, like the amygdala, through neuroplasticity. By deliberately exposing ourselves to new, challenging situations, like, say, volunteering as a public lector to face down a huge fear of public speaking, we can slowly but surely reshape exactly how our hidden core reacts to the world around us. To bring all of this together, just look at this quote. The primal, basic stuff of consciousness originates in the subcortical brain. I think that perfectly summarizes the core realization of our explainer today. Whether you're pitching a brand new business idea to a room full of skeptical executives, or you're literally studying the biological roots of human existence, true understanding doesn't come from getting lost in all those complex outer layers. It comes from acknowledging and connecting with our simple, feeling-driven foundational core. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative question to chew on. Are you ready to strip the fluff from your communication and tap directly into your audience's primal core? Next time you have an idea to share, do us all a favor and ditch the hour-long explanation. Find your 25 sentences, speak directly to the core, and just watch how quickly the world responds. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.